Obviously, from IFL TV in association with MTG Global, we're down in Glasgow, press conference for the huge unification clash between Ricky Burns and Indongo. I'd be joined by Matchroom's head honcho, Eddie Hearn. How we doing?
Tell you what, Coogan, that's a great accent you put on there. Unbelievable. I didn't know you had it in you.
Coogan's got it hard. They're getting ready for New York.
Mate, both of them gone.
I know.
It's overkill.
That's it. It's a hard task doing two events, one after the other.
Exactly. Now they got you. They got Sonny Donnelly's doing Birmingham this week, and our next gen show. They're branching out. You know,
that's it.
Like the network's growing.
They just cherry pick. That's what they do.
Exactly.
How did the presser go? Enjoy
really
yourself?
Good. Yeah, I'm really buzzing for this card. I mean, ticket sales are phenomenal. I think it's the biggest show we have done and maybe we'll ever do in Glasgow. Burns is just a revelation. You know, a unique character, someone that wants the very few fighters actually want the achievement, the legacy, the belts, and that's what he wants, and he's just desperate for a unification fight. Has been his whole career, and I'm just delighted he's finally got that opportunity. You know, freeweight world champion. It's the first ever unification world title fight in Scotland, and
I'm going home to check that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm thinking about Ken Buchanan. I think had a unification fight, but not in Scotland.
In New York.
Yeah. Benny Lynch, I don't think there was even multiple organisations around then. And Jim Watt never had one. Scott Harrison never had one.
You may have the low weights, you could Paul Weir and PACQUIAO, you never know.
I don't think they had a unification fight. But if they did, just don't mention it. Seriously, because I've already told 1,000 people, so it's really important that fact stays fact.
Fair enough. How tough a task is this for Ricky?
Very tough task. I mean, I remember when he phoned me and Tony Sims phoned me after Indongo knocked out Trojansky in Russia to win the world title, and I saw the knockout and they were like, you have to get me him. I'm like, but I guess when you look at the landscape for 140 pounds, who else do you go for? You got Crawford with 2 belts, you got Ricky, and you got now Indongo. So that was the target. And to be honest, I think Indongo is looking at Burns in the same way, saying I think that's a weak shot for a unification for me. So both these guys are sitting there going, wow, I could have 2 belts here and I could be in such a golden position. And so both guys are vying for that. He's all the things that Ricky Burns doesn't like. He's a tall, rangy southpaw who can punch. And I'd like to say that hopefully he'll melt travelling with a crowd, and then you just realise he just won the world title in Russia. So that's kind of out the window as well. So Ricky knows what he's doing. You know, there's few people who know their way around a ring better. He believes he can win the fight. We believe he can win the fight. I see it as a 50-50 fight, but what a chance to unify the division and just keep this historic story going about Ricky Burns.
A couple of years, I asked Ricky the same thing actually, a couple of years ago when he was going through that difficult period. Was there ever a moment where you thought this wouldn't arrive? Like, could anyone vision this?
I'll be honest, after this LATHAM fight, that was the worst. You know, obviously we started off with the Gonzalez fight, and he came through that night. He made Gonzalez quit in that fight. Wasn't great, but got through it. Then we had the Beltran fight, and I matched him tough. He come back off the Gonzalez fight. The Beltran fight was a tough fight, but with his resume, I expected him to come through that fight. Broke his jaw in the fight. Got very lucky to get a draw in the fight as well. And then the WBO stuck Crawford on him. It was a mandatory. So he goes into the Crawford fight not only with a broken jaw, but also with self-belief and self-confidence at rock bottom, and also everybody saying he shouldn't even be world champion. So it was a bad time, and actually, although he lost to Crawford, he probably gave him his most competitive championship fight yet. But what I noticed in the Beltran fight and the Crawford fight was how much he was struggling at 135 pounds. He felt it was normal, he felt that that's just what happens. This LATHAM fight, he made the weight terribly for that fight. He came out, again, we didn't know how good Zlatan was at the time. He had 1 defeat on his record. He was out of Serbia, Montenegro. We thought it was a world title eliminator with WBC, great. And came back, got decked in the first round. It was a nightmare. And we went back to the change room after, and he was in tears, and he said to me, "What has happened since I joined you?" I went, "Don't blame me, But it was a real tough time. And after that night, I kind of thought, I don't know what we're going to do here. We've been beaten out of town at lightweight. I feel like he has to move up to light welterweight. Came back, had a warm-up fight. I think it was in Hull, and then we got the call to fight Figueroa, which I thought, great. No pressure. Move up to 140. The fight was made at 141. I believe he can beat him. And if he doesn't, I think he'll put up a great fight, great profile in America. Went out there, Figueroa comes in heavy, ends up at about 160 pounds in the ring. that night, but Ricky put up a great fight. All the networks looked at it and said, wow, we want Burns back. And then I said to him, 140, oh, I ain't doing that again, no, 140 is too heavy. I said, no, Figueroa was too heavy. He went back to lightweight and boxed Josh King, stopped him, but again, didn't look as fresh as he did at 140. And then the opportunity came up to fight DeRocco, which obviously he grabbed with both hands. Great performance there. And I think the fight where he didn't really get the credit he should have done was the Relic fight. And no one's queuing up to fight Kill Relic now. He's a real handful. And that was a good performance. Close fight, he deserved the win, got it, and now this. So the comeback has been sensational. You know, with everything that happened to him out of the ring, everything that happened to him in the ring, you know, he had every right just to be a broken man, just to knock it on the head. But what it's been is his desire and his love for fighting and to achieve. You know, not really about that. He's never been about the money. He couldn't care less. If there was a fight that was 10 times the money of the Indongo fight, okay, he would have still taken the Indongo fight because he's desperate. He's like a fan. Oh, I can unify, I can win another belt, and that'll look great in the gym. You know, and that's really refreshing, I've got to say. And I'm pleased that people in Scotland have come out to support him because, you know, he deserves it, and the atmosphere is going to be sensational. And some really good undercard fights as well, with local boys, Scottish kids coming through who are trying to grow with us and grow with Ricky Burns, because he's not going to be around forever. You know, whether he's got 3, 4, 5 fights, that's the max. If he had it his way, he'd have 15. But, you know, he seems to be getting better, which is a great sign.
Yep. Just turning my attention to the undercard, we've got a tasty British title clash between Ian Butcher and Charlie
Really
Edwards.
good, yeah.
And I think that's caught the imagination of quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
It's a great fight, and it's a tough fight for Charlie because obviously coming off the back of the Casemiro loss, which was much too early for him for being that fight, but when you're at flyweight, you know, and a world title shot presents itself, you've really got to crack on and have a go for it. He didn't disgrace himself in the fight, he just wasn't good enough. He hasn't been struggling at the weight, but he's been very tight at flyweight. And when he moved to Adam Booth, the first thing he said to me was, you have to move him up to superfly. He did that. The fight with Butcher was available, British title. The only downside for Charlie is he has to come to the backyard. He has to come with 9,000 Scots cheering for the other guy. But I kind of think that's good for you. The only downside is if he loses to Butcher on the back of a World Championship defeat, it puts his career in disarray.
Yeah, it's a
very high-pressured fight. And what he said was all the pressure's on Ian Butcher in the fight. I disagree. I think all the pressure's on Charlie Edwards in this fight. But he's very skillful. Adam Booth is really confident about the fight. He's saying great things about Charlie. And I really think that fight's going to be a complete tear-up. Both guys like to work at pace and in volume. And I think they're just going to go at it for 12 rounds.
Both men, I've spoken to both of them, and both men are just so confident. They've been through the amateurs together and they know their game inside out, and the two of them, it's amazing how confident each other is, considering they've spent so much time in the amateur style, if that makes sense. Like, it's as if they both know their styles are just going to gel, and the two of them keep saying that this is going to be the fight of the night.
Well, I think it well could be, but I think when we offered the fight, they both come back and said 100%. So they're obviously extremely confident that they can win the fight, which is great. They're both going to prepare well. They both get a great chance to box in front of a huge crowd on Sky Sports in what should be an excellent fight. So I'm really looking forward to Edwards against Butcher.
And then obviously we've got Scotty Cardle with a chance to win the Lonsdale belt outright. It's going to be a cracking little fight as well.
Tough fight. I mean, actually, what I said in the press conference, which is right, on paper, you'd probably say it was his toughest defence yet. You know, Sean Dodd gave him nightmares, but on paper before that fight, that wasn't supposed to happen. Barrett I watched him beat Marcus French in Birmingham. He beat him easy in his backyard. He had a Hooper last weekend, didn't lose a round. You know, Hooper was the mandatory for Cardle. And he's got a very awkward style, Robbie Barrett, very good technician, excited for the fight, all the pressure on Cardle. Cardle wants to get this win the British title, move on. But I'm expecting a very close fight in Cardle against Barrett.
Fun enough, when I was talking to Scotty there, he mentioned the Luke Campbell fight. He's obviously not looking past the task he's got in hand, but he said that is something that's appealing to him.
I think once he wins the British belt, I think he wants all the big fights, you know, and it's very rewarding for a fighter to win that Lonsdale belt outright, and that's definitely what Scotty wants to do. They've ordered Lewis Ritson for the British title, which is sort of
it's a hard fight.
Yeah, but it's affected us a little bit because we wanted to just try and jump in and do the Campbell fight, so that sort of messes that up a bit. But I think Scotty, whether it's European, whether it's Campbell, he wants those big fights, and you know, after he's got the British title, why not?
And just to give the rest of the guys there, you get Charlie Flynn, Celtic title fight, Ryan Collins, it's going to be a cracking little...
Yeah, and you know, I think Charlie's done about 800 tickets, and Collins has done about 400 tickets. Ham against...
That's why you've got a smile on your face.
Yeah. Joe Ham, again, done about 600 tickets against Scott McCormick. You know, should be a good fight as well for the Scottish title. Callum Johnson, who is the Commonwealth gold medalist for Scotland, he's fighting Sheila Hippotel, who, you know, through the name you won't know a lot about, but actually people in boxing will know it's a big step up for Callum. You know, he's got a good amateur pedigree, he's been in some very good world-class fighters as well. Young Josh Kelly, going to be debuting GB Star as well, so it's a massive night of boxing. And I'm excited, you know, I think it's probably the best card we've put on in Scotland, and topped by a unification fight, which you don't really see. I mean, you don't really see it in Scotland, you don't really see it in Britain.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely do you see unification fights. So, you know, it's a great opportunity for Ricky to make history.
And finally, just switch my attention from this card just for a moment. There was a bit of a, I don't know if it originated in Twitter, but there was doubts about the Kell Brook and...
yeah, I don't know, it's weird that, I mean, I sometimes watch these, is it Barbershop or something? Like,
I don't even know, I just seen it all over
I don't even know
Twitter.
what it is, and someone sent me the link yesterday and said, listen to this, and it was this guy going, you know, I've got great contacts at the PBC and Matchroom, and my sources tell me that the fight's off, or if it's not off, they're looking to put it back. And there's this big conspiracy theory that the fight's getting moved or it's off, and it's absolute bollocks. Both guys have signed their bout agreement with the IBF. So if Kell Brook doesn't fight him, he's stripped immediately. If Errol Spence doesn't fight him, he's been replaced as his mandatory challenger. There is a thing, we're looking at May the 27th at Bramall Lane, and I just replied to a tweet then. You know, I said, we're just waiting for the licence to come through from the council. And this guy's replied on Twitter, I mean, how long does it take to get a licence? It's like, what the fuck do you know? I'll tell you how long it takes. You have to speak to the police and make sure they're happy. You have to put a new seating plan in place and take that to the council. You have to look at egress and safety, fire exits, all kinds of different things. Yeah. You know, you have to actually apply for a licence for that capacity to be on the pitch. It's confused. It's not. You don't make a phone call and go, "Is that all right, Gov? Lovely, sweet." It just takes weeks to get meetings with the police, the council, that kind of stuff. So, you know, from the horse's mouth, this fight is 100% happening from our side. And everything I'm hearing from their side is it is as well. May the 27th at Bramall Lane, that's our date. If we don't get a licence approved, which again I would think we're absolute odds on to get the licence approved, then we'll move the venue. But absolutely, you know,
rubbish.
No, rubbish. No, rubbish. We're committed to that fight. You know, people said, "Oh, would you jump ship for a Khan fight?" The Khan fight's not there, so it's not even.
Talking about that, you.
No, listen. If Amir Khan came to us now and said, "Okay, we agree to your offer," would we bid in the Spence fight? Maybe, but it's not. It's not even being discussed. So we're full steam ahead for the Errol Spence fight.
Just saying that, actually, you said all along that the Khan-Pacquiao fight wasn't happening.
It was never happening.
Yeah.
But you know, I got ridiculed. But you're just jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm just telling you that fight is not happening. They both agreed terms for a fight on terms of money that just didn't exist. Listen to Bob Arum. He knows what he's talking about. He said to those guys, "Yeah, go and speak to him in Dubai. Go and get the money. Lovely." Knowing the money weren't there, knowing it was never going to materialise. And now Khan's left holding his dick, saying, you know, well, now he's got to have a warm-up fight. He should have taken the Kell Brook fight all along. But, you know, he was just probably told, yeah, this Khan-Pacquiao fight's happening. It's not. And, you know, people want to see the big fights. I mean, we had Hey Bellew last week. It's fantastic. Dramatic, thrilling, you know, and...
Do you ever get to a stage where you just think that window's closed? If the Pacquiao-Khan fight had gone ahead, Pacquiao, this is just looking in the future, and Pacquiao had got the victory, so Khan was coming off another defeat, Kell Brook defeated Errol Spence, is that suddenly a time comes where you think there's not the value in that fight that there once was?
Yeah, I think the time for the fight's now, but you see, Amir Khan, the great fighter, he achieved bundles and bundles. The truth is, and this isn't an insult to Amir Khan, he doesn't want to lose to Kell Brook. If he loses to Kell Brook, that's the end of the road. If he loses to Manny Pacquiao,
Yeah.
There's Kell Brook, or there's someone else. Do you know what I mean? So at this stage in Amir Khan's career, the only thing he's thinking about is how many more big paydays have I got left? That's not obnoxious. That's not selfish. That's what everybody else in his position would be thinking.
Yeah.
So if he fights Kell Brook and loses, he's done. And he knows that that is a possibility. It's a 50-50 fight. I believe Kell Brook knocks him out. Amir probably thinks he wins the fight. But the fact is, it's high risk, high reward for the money, but afterwards, it could be all over. So Amir's thinking, yeah, fight Pacquiao, I'll make 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 million, or 30 if the mysterious pot of invisible money pops up.
Do you think it's strange that there has never been like a super fight stage in the list? You've got these tycoons that come in and take over football
it's
clubs.
Strange. I mean, we do some darts events out there.
Yeah.
With you buy duty free, much smaller money, but it took us a long time to get money. It's not like it's $5 million. I think they're asking for like $30, $40 million. It's not there, and it's not also a country or a culture that is synonymous with fighting, as in two blokes chinning each other. You know, if there was the history, like there was a huge fight there in the past, but it hasn't. So someone's going to have to break the boundaries, and Pacquiao could do it. In fact, Pacquiao-Khan is a fight that could do it. And I'm not saying that fight doesn't happen in November or next year, but it just ain't happening on April the 28th or whenever. It was never happening on the 21st, 23rd, whatever it was. It was 6 weeks away, and there was no money. It doesn't work like that. So, but I really believe that there is a true understanding now from particularly British fighters and worldwide fighters that you've got to jump in these super fights while they're there, because everyone's seeing the rewards of these fights and a little bit of legacy sometimes, but certainly the history and memories that they're creating. And I think, obviously, again, you had Haiti Bellew, you've got other people now. Joshua's fighting Klitschko, Burns is jumping in a unification fight, Crolla's fighting Linares again. I think Frampton is now looking, saying, I want a big super fight. People want super fights, and now, when someone takes the chance to do it, it can put them in a position where they're the new dog in town. A little bit like Bellew. Before Bellew beat Hay, he wasn't, one of the main men in British boxing. He is now. He's going to make an absolute fortune. So he's taking the chance. He's got the rewards, and now he's up there. And you like your free rolling. Just how many? It's a bit like what I said about Amir Khan. When they're at that stage, Tony Bellew's at the same stage. How many more? How many more times can I do this? Because, by the way, in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, that's you done. That's your core career finished. This isn't working in an office where you pack it in at 60. You're done at 35. So you've got to get your money, get out safely, have a future that's already built for you, and then go and do something to enjoy your life. And these guys that are being involved in the super fights are all doing it. And I think the guys underneath now are thinking, I need to get on that.
Last thing, he's just announced it recently. We've got the Tyson Fury back in the heavyweight division. He's announced that he's coming out of retirement. What's your thoughts on the impact he could have?
It's great. I mean, I think when you listen to Fury's tweets, Tyson, you listen to Peter Fury talking, who's a lot more aware of the situation and realistic. And I think Tyson said he's fighting on May the 13th. I'm guessing that's not happening, but he has to deal with the British Boxing Board of Control, UKAD, VADA, whatever it is, I don't know, it's not my business. But he is one of the biggest names in world boxing. We would love him to be back in the heavyweight mix. I want Joshua to fight Tyson Fury, 100%. It's a huge fight. Bellew could fight Tyson Fury as well. He's a great fighter, he's entertaining. He creates a lot of noise, a lot of publicity. He could do a huge amount of pay-per-view buys. In that respect, I love him a lot. So we hope he gets back as soon as possible. I think he's 25, 26 stone. He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But, if he's overcome his demons and overcome his problems, he can do it. And I think he will. I think you'll definitely see Fury back, whether it's the summer, whether it's the end of the year. Again, he's got to deal with those obstacles, and he's just got to hit them face on. Not, I ain't going to that hearing. Fucking make him fuck off. It's not that you got to go. You've got to go through the process. You've got to take your slaps on the wrist, and you've got to go again. But I welcome him back. I think he's a good guy. Who's been through his problems. Great talent. Mostly good for the game. And I hope he comes back soon.
Cool. Well, anything else you'd like to add? We covered everything.
No, just the show on Friday really. This NXT Gen series. I'm as excited for this show at the York Hall on Friday than I was for Hey Bellew. That's good news for me. That's good news for you, because it means I've still got the passion. Because otherwise I'd be thinking, oh my God, I've got York Hall on Friday. But it's a new series with all our youngsters coming out in championship fights, progressing, stepping up, giving them the coverage. I think it's 6 o'clock live on Sky Sports Facebook, 10 o'clock live on Sky Sports 1. Some really good fights on Sky Sports, good young talent on Facebook as well. And I'm excited to give them the opportunity to come through. It's going to be a much more relaxed style of production. Going to get all our young guys coming there, doing a bit of presenting, some commentating. Really relaxed, Friday night fun, away from the Saturday night fight nights. This is just something a little bit extra. And I'm excited for the show. I'm really, York Hall's going to be banged out. Great atmosphere down there, and get that done. And then the big one the week after, Linares against Crolla too, which I can't wait for. And every day, I truly believe more and more that Anthony Crolla's going to cause this upset and just create another magical night for him.
Manchester always seems to create special nights, though, doesn't it?
It does, and Crolla's great in rematches, and you know, him and Joe Gallagher. You know, you wouldn't want probably two other people to go in there and step up in a rematch than those guys. Like you said, that arena can create some special things, and he feels invincible when he goes in there. Can Linares find the form that he found in the last fight? I don't believe that's possible. Can Crolla improve? Yes, I believe that's possible. Can the crowd take him over the line? Yeah, let's create that lion's den in there. It's going to be 13,000, 14,000 people in there cheering him on. So you've got Brian Rose against Jack Arnfield in the Battle of Blackpool as well. You've got Martin Ward against Maxie Hughes for the British title. Marcus Morrison stepping up against Jason Welborn for the first time. Katie Taylor is on the bill as well. It's a lot of young talent.
I've seen Jason Welborn in his last fight actually down in Birmingham.
Yeah, he's a handful. I mean, when he fought Macklin, you know, I know Macklin was at the end of his reign, but
Solly Hall it was,
yeah, but he's a real handful for Marcus Morrison. It's a good fight. It's time he stepped up, and he's going to have to do it against Welborn.
Yep. Well, look forward to it.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much for your time.
Much rather talk to you than Coogan.
I was going to ask actually.
Yeah.
Well, they're not here. Let's stir the pot a little bit. Who's your favourite, Coogan or James? Who do you prefer being interviewed off? Here's been put in the spot.
That question's like, what would you rather do? Slide down a razor blade using your balls as brakes and jump in a bowl of TCP, or you know, pull your teeth out with a set of pliers? So I think James actually asks some really good questions now.
Now, being over used to.
No, I think he's getting better at that. Coogan's like just, you know, he sits there, he talks with his mouth open as you would, but just like he's very nasally. Yeah. You know, and often every 10 seconds he'll go like that, and the camera will go all over the place. And when you're talking to him, you see the camera sort of drift down. Yep. So halfway through the interview, you sort of cut off to there. James actually holds the camera, like he just sticks it in your face and he's talking. But I think if you're actually talking about skill, ability, knowledge, you'd have to go with James. But I think Coogan sees himself as much more of a celebrity now. Yeah, there's a lot of people that feel like he's got too big for his boots. There's people talking behind his back. You know, they basically think he's an arsehole now. So James is the one I think has got the credibility amongst the boxing community. He's the one that holds it together. Yeah, while Coogan goes out, and Coogan's now the front man. You know, he's the star. I've seen him signing autographs, having photos done, that kind of stuff. And now, when we're booking him in hotels, he asks for a sofa to be in the room as well, and a specific type of cotton sheets as well on the bed, which I think is taking it too far. But you know, he used to be happy with a rollaway at the bottom, sharing it with a couple of fighters. But you know, he's become big, and sometimes you have to satisfy the demands of divas. It's amazing what 100,000 subscribers are doing. I know. Well, you know, we've dealt with David Hay and these kind of guys, and you know, they've got nothing on Coogan. He takes it to another level. And let it be known that they chose Bob Arum and Loeffler over. This is true. Well, they're whores. At the end of the day, they forget what. This is all getting edited. It's definitely not. I don't want it to be edited. No, I don't mean me. I mean they guys are. Oh yeah, no, good. Well, they might edit it because Coogan loves editing things as well. You know, he always phones me up and says, "Someone said this about you in an interview. Do you want me to take it out?" I go, "No." So he won't edit this, but you know, he will go anywhere for some views, for a pound note. So you know, at least we know what type of person he is. That's it. I think we should leave it like that. Okay, good. Cheers, Eddie. Thanks.